So this might seem to be a bit random, but I want to start a series where I take Ichigo and I pit him up against other protagonists of other anime so we can actually get a good gauge for how strong he is. Because I talk about how strong Ichigo is all the time, or I'll do videos on other characters, but we never really put it into practice by pitting him up against other characters and show how he'd actually interact with them. I think this would also help Ichigo get a little bit more respect in the versus community, because Bleach as a whole doesn't have a whole lot of respect. It's really Yuha and Aizen that basically carry the entire verse, just because they have actually really good hacks. But Ichigo himself is still pretty good. He's really strong, he's really fast, and he has some resistances to things that I don't think people think about, which might come up in some of the later versus matches. Obviously this one, he's going up against Saitama, who is very similar to Ichigo, where they're both just very chatty characters. And as for why I chose Saitama as the first one in this series, well, Saitama is one of those characters that everybody thinks of when they're like, oh, we're going to put somebody up against someone else. Well, let's throw in Saitama. He'll just end the fight in one punch. Like, that's kind of his notoriety in, the community. So I figured let's put him up against that guy, see how well he does. And, if you guys like this, I'll keep doing these types of videos. How this will work is I will go over Saitama's strength, his speed, and then I'll go over any notable techniques or hacks that he might have. And then from there, we will compare him to varying versions of Ichigo in order from weakest to strongest. And either Saitama beats every version of Ichigo, or he gets to a version of Ichigo where he just straight up can't win. And, that's basically where we'll put Saitama. We'll be like, he's comparable to this Ichigo, and that's where he ends on the ladder of Ichigos, I guess. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into this. Now, covering Saitama's strength is fairly easy because all of his most impressive feats have calcs attached to them, which all calcs brought up in this video will be linked in the description if you'd like to check those out, unless I show them on screen. If I show the calc on screen, there's really no need for me to link it in the description because it's right there. You can just see it, right? But for instance, when he fights Goketsu, well, quote-unquote fights, he one-punches Goketsu and he's able to split the clouds in the sky, which you wouldn't think would be very impressive because they're just clouds and we think of them as these weightless things that float in the sky. But clouds actually have weight to them. And the fact that Saitama was able to disperse these clouds so violently and so quickly was actually calced out at being island level, and it's actually pretty impressive. However, this is far from Saitama's maximum strength. One of the feats that will be commonly brought up when talking about Saitama is probably his moon jumping feat, as even at just a casual glance, you could look at this feat and be like, that's probably at least country level, just given the size of the crater he made and given, how large the moon is, right? Well, you'd be like kinda close, but not quite there, as it actually comes out at being multi-continental, and this is actually very casual for Saitama as he just jumps and leaves a multi-continental crater in the moon. However, we can actually go higher than this. Now, I know Boros being planetary is kind of debatable in the One Punch Man community, and there's a small amount of people that think he's actually star level, going off that one guide. However, there is a way to still get him to planetary, even using his statement for just destroying the surface of the planet. See, Boros mentions in the anime that his attacks do vaporize whatever they hit, and if he's going to vaporize the surface of the Earth, that actually comes out to being much larger than multi-continental, as life wiping the planet is generally regarded as multi-continental. But when you actually vaporize something, it requires drastically more force to do so. Think of the difference of like the Death Star blowing up a planet and it leaves all these chunks everywhere, right? It still blew up the planet, but it didn't reduce it to space dust, right? To where there's completely nothing left at all. It's just a tremendous amount more force required. And if Boros would be vaporizing the surface of the Earth, it would actually come out to still being planetary, right? So that'll be our high end for Saitama. It'll be planetary. And, I only mention this if we're not going to take some of the statements where Boros says he'll destroy the planet anyway, right? So we have some of those statements, but in case, you don't want to go with those or you don't want to use them at all, we can at least use Boros vaporizing the surface of the Earth as being planetary as well. So this would leave Saitama anywhere from multi-continental to planetary. Now, moving on to speed, these characters should be light speed to FTL. Seeing as we have numerous statements or feats of characters dodging or moving at the speed of light, one of the most blatant ones is Flashy Flash, just stating that he moves at the speed of light. A similar statement to that is Awakened Cockroach, stating that he moves faster than light as well. And someone like Orochi can tag him easily with one of his tendrils, and obviously we see Saitama dodge Orochi's tendrils in their fight. But a much better method of scaling as well to get them even higher is that you can use Orochi's tendrils, right, that can blitz Awakened Cockroach and moves faster than light. And Awakened Garo is able to dodge multiple tendrils at once and only gets tagged whenever they do these weird movements, because Orochi seems to have like this very finite control over his tendrils, right? But he's able to dodge multiple of them at once, and he actually is stated to be speeding up as the fight goes on. And then that Garo is still inferior to Saitama, and we know that in the future, Garo is going to get his monster form, which is going to get stronger and faster, and then we know that Saitama is still going to be superior to him there. But let's try not to use stuff that hasn't come out yet, right? Because for all we know, these dudes could be traveling through time. You know, we have no idea how the manga is actually going to interpret these events, right? Another character that shows that they were FTL to light speed really early on is G4. He fights Genos like very early on in the series, right? And he's shooting these light beams at Genos, and Genos is capable of dodging them. And G4 goes out of his way to confirm to us that the light he's using has similar properties to light. So even early on, we have characters performing relativistic feats, and then we get characters later on stating that they move at the speed of light, and those characters are getting blitzed. So you can actually make a good argument for, you know, Orochi's tendrils being like even around like 10 times the speed of light, as they're able to blitz Awakened Cockroach, and you need to be able to move 10 times faster than someone to blitz faster than their eye can see. So even someone like Saitama could be upwards of 10 times faster than light, possibly even higher. Saitama does technically have different techniques, like he has the serious punch versus the casual punch, or the serious sideways jump versus, I guess, just a casual leap, but there's nothing really special about them. It's just like, oh, Saitama's putting a little bit more effort into this punch or this jump, you know? It's not like, oh, when I throw this punch, it's imbued with the concept of death or something. It's nothing insane like that. It's just him putting marginally more effort into his punches or whatever action he's performing, so there's nothing really special to Saitama's techniques. Now, Saitama can pretty much just go ahead and jump all the way up to the Hueco Mundo Arc, because the first version of Ichigo, the substitute Shinigami one, is anywhere from building level to multi-city block, and it's got like relativistic reaction times, which is nowhere near good enough to fight against Saitama. He's going to get splattered. In the Soul Society arc, he is mountain level with a calc that puts him at 2 times the speed of light, possibly higher than that depending on how you want to argue things, but at that point he's about as fast as Saitama if you want to highball things, but nowhere near as strong as Saitama is, so he just can't keep up. And while he could react to Saitama, Saitama hits him once and he just explodes. And then we move on to the Hueco Mundo arc, and this is where things kind of get interesting, because Ichigo should be fast enough to keep up with Saitama at this point, just generally seeing as he's anywhere from like 2 to like 20 times the speed of light in the Soul Society arc, and then you stack his mask on top of that, and even the fact that Grimmjow was blitzing his Bankai in their first battle, and then Ichigo with his mask is able to go toe-to-toe with resurrected Grimmjow, so he's getting just demonstrably faster. So even if he wasn't as fast as Saitama in the Soul Society arc, he's definitely hitting that point at this point. Like, it's a lot more solid. But more importantly, it's his AP, which it doesn't matter if Ichigo's fast enough or faster than Saitama, because it's not like Saitama has a lower like passive durability. He's like multi-continental, he's tanking multi-continental attacks as well, and you know, even up to planetary as well. So Ichigo needs the AP to be able to kill Saitama. And in the Hueco Mundo arc, we have everyone scaling to Las Noches, and then the big question is, well, how powerful or how impressive is destroying Las Noches? You know, it could be anywhere from large island level, which is where current calcs put it at. If you're using some of the older methods of scaling Las Noches, you can get it to being about country level in size, and if the attacks are vaporizing it, it comes out to being like multi-continental, which would be good for Ichigo, because then at that point he's as strong as Saitama, just a lot faster, so he should win that fight. But there's even higher estimates for Las Noches that put it at star level, since Aizen created that light source in Las Noches, and people want to say that that means there's a star in there. However, I'm a bit skeptical on that because we can't prove it's actually a star. It could literally just be a light source, you know? So a high-end Ichigo being at star level would absolutely wash Saitama, and if we use the older methods and put him at multi-continental, then obviously he can beat a weaker Saitama, as he would just be basically Saitama but faster. But if we use the current methods of scaling Las Noches, not saying that they're accurate, but I'm kind of just humoring them at this point, you know, humoring all of these possibilities. And if he is large island level, then he would still lose to Saitama at this point. And then we would move on to the Vasto Lorde, which is where things get kind of crazy, because if you're using the Helver scaling, you can get the Vasto Lorde anywhere from like planetary to multi-planetary if you're really highballing him. Although I think it's pretty accurate from the movie to put him at like planetary, that's just my 2 cents. But if we're using that scaling irregardless, then it's basically, again, they're the same strength. Even if you highball Saitama, it's just Ichigo's way faster at that point. But if you're not using the movie scaling, then it's like, okay, the Vasto Lorde is just stronger than Ichigo. It's not like there's any other feats around that really help him, you know? So then we can move to Dangai Ichigo, who scales above all Shinigami, right? As he is able to beat an Aizen that says he now surpasses all Hollows in Shinigami, which would include people like Yamamoto. And Yamamoto can be scaled anywhere from planetary to multi-galaxy. So at that point, it's just a complete wash. We don't need to go anywhere past Dangai because he's clearly bodying Yamamoto he's clearly bodying Saitama at this point. And that's all there really is to it with this matchup. Both Saitama and Ichigo are literally just these beat sticks that beat the crap out of whoever they're fighting, and with Ichigo now being stronger and faster than Saitama, he just straight up wins. I could have humored some of the wank arguments for Saitama, like allegedly, you know, with big air quotes, Saitama hits with the force of a big bang, but I'm trying to keep it somewhat realistic here, you know, we're not going to get into wank arguments too much, although I'm sure eventually later on down the line as we get to some of the stronger versions of Ichigo going up against some of the stronger protagonists in anime, I'm sure some people will call some of the Ichigo arguments wank, but we'll address that when we get there. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know this kind of seems maybe rushed. This is exam week for me because I'm taking a J-term class, but I'm trying to get videos out to you guys a bit more consistently. We picked up an editor. His link will be in the description. Go show that guy some love. And yeah, if you have any videos, my Discord's linked in the description. Feel free to come talk to me about anything, you know, anything in the video you didn't quite understand. If you want to have a debate about it, we can do that. I'm open to debate people, which, you know, some people, like, I say this in every video, and there's just some people that don't seem to get it. But, you know, Discord linked in the description. Come debate me if you have a problem, or we can just chat. We can have a chat, bro. We can chill. That's fine. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I don't have an idea for the next video. I'm kind of open to suggestions if you guys have anything specific. But, I don't know. Got a few ideas. I'll see you guys later.